Of course I talk about condoms because I talk about sex ed on YouTube, so condoms it is today. And today is more important than it's been for a very long time. It's been found that syphilis is way on the increase. In fact, it's almost up to World War II levels here in the UK. Now, as far as methods of contraception go, there's only one which you can be sure of which will protect you against sexually transmitted infections, and that is using condoms or similar things like femidoms. Of course, the word contraception itself means stopping conceiving, so that doesn't mean you should stop using other methods of contraception such as the pill or IUDs, because more than one method of contraception is a-okay in my book, and in fact it's recommended. But if you're someone who sleeps with more than one person in a short period of time, nothing wrong with that, but you should be aware that you're more likely to be contracting STIs if you're both haven't been tested and aren't clean. So when you have a new partner, you should always go for condoms. And the fact of the matter is that 15-20 years ago you would have had adverts on the telly which would have been, okay, a bit scaremongering, but would have been pushing home that message that you should be having protected sex, shouldn't be just sleeping with anybody without realising any consequences of that. And yes, there's been improvements in antibiotics and other ways of treating sexually transmitted infections, and of course that's good, but it is not a preventative measure, is it? It's not a guarantee that you're going to get better. The group mostly affected by this is young people. That's people between 13, 14 or whatever you're going to start to be sexually active, and 25 or 30. Obviously students are particularly affected, first time they've not lived at home and maybe don't have the guidance of their parents in their ears, but also they're responsible for themselves, they're not going to be told to go and get themselves checked up, and they're unlikely to care as much, especially if they've been drinking alcohol or something like that. And then there's kind of the flip side of this, where people are stigmatised for having STIs, in which case they don't go and seek help when they have them, or they might even not realise they have them. They've been having unprotected sex, but a lot of STIs have no symptoms in the early stages, including syphilis. And syphilis is something you can potentially die from if it goes untreated. Now, I carry condoms around with me, usually in my wallet, so I've got my wallet with me most of the time when I'm out, and I guarantee I'm not looking for it, I'm not asking to have sex. It is just something where, if something happens, if I meet somebody, then I've got protection if I need it. And you can say, well, that's right, because you're a man and you don't get stigmatised for sleeping around, and yeah, you're probably right. Women do get stigmatised for sleeping around, and they shouldn't do. So just taking straight relationships here, if there's so many men willing to have sex, what's the problem with women having sex? Because, if men are having sex and it's a straight sex, then the woman has to have sex as well. It doesn't work otherwise. That's how sex works. So point number one, women shouldn't be stigmatised for having sex. And what they definitely shouldn't be stigmatised for, point number two, is carrying protection with them. They're not asking for it, they're not looking for it or sleep around with everybody. They just care about their health, and of course they should. Everybody should be caring about their health. Everybody should take the responsibility to have protection on them, especially if they're going on nights out, or frankly, even if they're not. Just carry it around with you. If I hadn't told you there was a condom in my wallet, would you know? Of course not. If you found that you have had unprotected sex and you are concerned, and you probably should be, that you may be contracting an STI or an STD, then go to your sexual health clinic. Book an appointment. You can do it by having a look at the NHS website if you're in the UK. You can usually phone up and get an appointment the same day or the next day. Other ones you have to turn up when they open, but you will find out all this information on the NHS website. Indeed, if you are under 25, a lot of local authority areas you can get kits which you can get mailed out for chlamydia and for HIV and various other sexually transmitted infections. Again, this is your sexual health. You shouldn't feel embarrassed or worried about going to get checked. It is the right thing to do. It is the only thing to do if you are in that situation. So yes, just to round up, wear a condom, especially for the first time that you are having sex with a new partner. If you haven't worn a condom, or if the condom's split, or for any other reason that you think you might have contracted an STI, go and get yourself checked. Get yourself checked anyway, go regularly, once every 6 or 12 months to the STI clinic, and just make sure that you're fine. And finally, do not be embarrassed about carrying contraception with you. Protected sex is the only way to prevent STIs, and you know what, for most people they will be welcoming that you have thought about your health and the person that you want to sleep with's health. And finally, and this is really important, do not be pressured into not using protection, especially with a new partner. If you want to use protection, go ahead and use it. This video is very important. Please do share it around, especially with the rise in STIs that we have right now here in the UK. If you like the video, then give it a thumbs up just down below. Remember, I make videos every single week, which is a great reason to subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.